Hello. Welcome to Berardi and Co. Welcome to Berardi and Co. from the Ought to Know Better podcast. I'm Smarty, and I'm joined tonight by Jay. We're going to be discussing the win down at Carrow Road a little bit after this.
We are champions Europe. We are champions Europe. We are champions Europe.
Going to be a bloody short one, is this, if it carries on like that. Welcome to the show, everyone else, including this idiot that I've found myself fucking lumbered with even. How you doing, mate? Are you excited? Are you happy? I tell you what, it's a good job it's not a bloody grief cast, isn't it? Because that could have been a really bad one, that one. But what are your thoughts, since you're high on life at the minute?
Well, I mean, I'm just relieved, to be honest with you, because looking at the table before that, if we'd not won that game, we were kind of starting to get cast adrift a little down there. I mean, I know it would have only been sort of 3 points, but a gap's a gap, innit? And if you're having that happen to you against a team like Norwich, then you're in real trouble. So initially, I'm relieved, to be fair.
I mean, Luke touched on this the other week, but I've been decorating my house, so I didn't actually watch too much of it. I'm obviously the only person in the world that moves house and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I wasn't actually watching too much. I caught glimpses, but I was listening to it. But at the start, it was very much end to end. Like we do see a lot of the time. We used to see it in the Championship a lot of the time. People try and go toe-to-toe with us. You get a very hectic first 20, 30 minutes. And then it seemed to settle down a bit, and then that was obviously the ascendancy then. Well, how did you feel? How did you feel? Do you think it swung either way, or were we pretty much in control throughout the match?
Bloody hell. I think in control would be a bit of a stretch. It were end to end, wasn't it? Like you say, and it was scary because it was one of those games where it just looked like we could concede, and if we did, you don't know at the moment whether we'll come back, regardless of who it's against. And there were real danger going behind in that game. I think it were. I would say at the time I was thinking it's probably whoever scores first is going to win this game. Obviously, I didn't expect them to equalise immediately afterwards, which was just typical Leeds, wasn't it? But I mean, I felt that whoever scored first would win, and that did turn out to be the case. I don't think either team's got any confidence looking at them. And unfortunately, I didn't think we were massively better than them. I thought we did enough, but it was a game that could have gone either way. And I think I said in one of the chats that the fact that they clearly saw this as a game they could win is quite insulting in itself to us. That if that doesn't motivate the players, then what does? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I know they're obviously struggling for form, probably like we are, but at the end of the day, they're in the Premier League. And I always find the more difficult teams to play are down at the bottom of the league anyway. Those sort of teams around you, Norwich, prime example, are going to be absolutely fighting tooth and nail to try and get one over on you, and they will do literally anything they can, whether it's an early goal at the start and then defend, with their lives at the end. Who knows? We're never going to be an easy game, especially with our current run of form as well, even though I think we are like 10th or 11th in form table or something daft like that. I think I've just seen
God knows.
Crazy.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, any standout performances, good and bad for you? I know there were a couple of players that were getting a bit of jip. I think Harrison and Dan James, our group chat, were getting a bit of stick.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I had a look at the ratings from Leeds Live actually just before we came on, and they gave both Harrison and DJ a 4 each, which is pretty damning.
Oh, really?
But not undeserved, I don't think, on that showing.
No.
I mean, DJ's obviously got ability, but it's not happening for him at the moment, and he's starting to look like another Hadi Sacco. You know what I mean? And that's just not a player that we need right now when we're in this shit and we're trying to get out of it.
It's one of them sort of things, isn't it? I mean, like with Dan James, I mean, his speed is just phenomenal. I mean, he's like a bullet in it. But with the other team, with the team that's not playing well around him, your Rodrigo, he was supposed to be doing the Bamford Road, but every time I seem to look over, whatever, he seemed to be dropping back and coming deep and stuff like that. I'm like, you should be further upfield. We don't have Bamford. It's so obvious. It's so clear to see. It's just like, oh God, it's so apparent.
Yeah, he's so
integral. Defending at the front, going forward at the front, keeping the ball up there. It's just we need to get him back as soon as possible. And I think in light of that, I think Ayling's a huge loss for us as well at the minute. The overlaps, the underlaps, everything that we seem to be missing. It's just not working. We got Mr. Minchell.
Oh, here he is.
Yes. Hey up, lads. I'll not put my camera on because I'm currently bathing.
Jesus Christ.
There's a floating chud.
Nobody needs to see that on a Sunday evening before school tomorrow.
No one wants to see that either. Never mind on a Sunday evening, mate. Give us your thoughts then, Minch.
Yeah, look, I think the most important thing today was obviously the 3 points, and we got that. At times it was frustrating to watch, and being there, you could tell that with the atmosphere. You know what it's like when you go to games when when the crowd goes quiet. It's almost like we're shit here. Do you know what I mean?
When you can feel the tension.
Yeah, in bits we played some proper nice stuff. Some real good positives to take out of that. I think today on to Leicester next week, who obviously aren't in the greatest of form. So the important thing today was getting the 3 points and getting back up to Leeds and regrouping for next weekend's game.
I think you're right there.
I've had my say on individual players ish. I'm not one to sort of sit and slate individual performances. But what I will say is there was some real good performances out there, and I think I know a few people didn't think that Struijk had a good game today, but I thought he was really solid and offered quite a lot for us. As did Llorente. I thought Llorente was smashing. Dallas, great game as well. Thought KP was relatively quiet. I'm not convinced he's fully fit. And then obviously Rafinha was outstanding. Dan James caused him a few problems as well, making runs in behind. Not as effective as obviously we'd like for 20 odd million quid, but he's getting there, and he's almost having to change his game completely. And he's been coached by fucking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and now he's coached. It's not going to happen. As Leeds
coached
fans,
in inverted commas.
Yeah, as Leeds fans, I think we just need to sort of understand our expectations of people. Yeah, we've spent a lot of money on him. Yeah, we've spent a lot of money on Rodrigo as well. And just because they're not scoring an hat-trick every game doesn't mean they're not performing. And we've got to have that. We've got to have that belief in these players and what they can bring to the team moving forward. And I think that's what it is. It's about building and making progress each and every game, and we seem to be doing that now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we have progressed in the last few games. I think that's a fair point, to be fair, even though we're all worrying and doom and gloom. I mean, we took a point off Wolves. We've got 3 points today. We have done all right.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's a perfect, way to get at them next week, and we've got Leicester at home next week. But, you can physically see the guys are getting better. The last 20, 30 minutes, we were awesome last week. Today, it looked like we were playing with an hangover a little bit, pretty much like it's been all season. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but we just seem to be like a shell of us former selves. But like you said, just before you joined us, Luke, we were saying, talking about individual player performances and stuff like that. We highlighted a couple of issues and stuff. But, from what I've seen of Dan James, he'll be an awesome player for us, just like Rafinha. Arrison, still somewhat there. He's just not the player that he was last season. But, you're not going to get form without playing, are you? So you need to play these sort of players.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I think I put it on Twitter earlier. One of my my biggest positives out of today was Adam Forshaw when he came on. Yeah. How calm, cool, collected he was in possession and out of it. To be fair, he worked his ass off, and you could see, he's really enjoying playing with that group of players again. I don't want to.
He's so calm and composed, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And
so composed,
fantastic. He almost cushions everything. You could fire a bullet at him and he'd cushion it with inside his feet. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask actually. one of my notes I made. Do you think he's pushing for a start?
Where do you start him?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
I think he's the ideal breather for Phillips, and he's shown that. You know, he's slightly different to Phillips. His game is short passing. He hasn't got that fucking, you know, that Hollywood pass, that Hail Mary where he's going to put one of the wingers in behind. But what he has got is that composure and that prowess and that know-how and that understanding and that experience. I think that only comes with playing football for 20 years. Or how old is he? Is he 30?
He's 30. He just
turned 30.
Yeah. So he's obviously been around the block. He's been at a few clubs and that, and yeah, I think what he brings to that team, it just sort of relaxed everybody a little bit when he came on because they believe in him. You know, I'd like to see Phillips and Forshaw in the midfield for us. However, I don't know how you'd fit them both in without playing two pivots because neither of them. Phillips has got, exactly that, Jay, like Rice and Phillips do for England. But it almost brings pressure, doesn't it? Because you're sitting deep, you know, with two pivots. And I don't know who of the two you could probably put a little bit further forward. Now, there's probably listeners and people who watch this back and say, actually, we could put one of those two further forward. They don't have to score, but then that means you're probably pulling either Click or Rodrigo or Dallas if he's not playing left back out of there. So I just can't see how we can line up with both of them in there, which is a nice position to be in because it means we've got backup for each other, you know. And if Evans, I mean, touch wood, that this didn't happen, but if Phillips was to get a ban or another injury, we probably wouldn't be as worried now with Forshaw coming back and looking relatively good on the ball.
Yeah, would you give him another contract?
Sorry?
His contract's up this summer. Would you give him another contract or would you extend it?
I'd give him another year, yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
I would definitely.
I think he's probably worth it.
Good player to have around the team. He's, you know, we've stuck by him this last year or two when he's had absolutely horrific luck with his injuries and that. So yeah, I think it's the least that we can do for him. He's given an opportunity to play some football for us.
Yeah. I think what for us is easy to forget. Before he got injured, in the second year of playing and stuff under Bielsa, he was actually part of the furniture. I believe this is right. That Bielsa said he was the best player at Leeds at the time when he took over.
He said best technically. I think he said the best player. Did he not say something along the lines of he'd love to have a team of not a team of Forshaws, basically? I think it's something along them lines. I can't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, you're quite right. I do remember the quote.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And like literally just before he got injured, he was so reliable, part of the old guard, which we're missing so many of them. You know, when I think this season, why could we possibly be losing so many games or not looking as best? And I just think we've got that many good sort of influential players, not just on the pitch, but mentality-wise, getting the guys fired up in the changing rooms. We're missing Berardi, was great guy to have around the club. Ayling's missing; he's very vocal. We've got so many big characters like that missing from our team at the minute. It's obvious that we miss them. I think, Bamford as well.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely spot on. Obviously, with Pablo going to Castellón as well, Alioski leaving. These were senior players that have been with the first team squad, for a few years now. And when you take those natural influences out of a team, it's naturally going to have a negative effect because you just can't replace that type of. That camaraderie and that friendship that players have between. We've all played. We know what it's like. If you play with your mates and then go join another club that aren't your mates, it takes time to settle in, and you do miss it. So yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on, Smarty. I think we are missing that influence and arguably a bit of leadership as well because. People used to look to Pablo and Berardi to set an example. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Senior players.
We haven't officially replaced those two, really, have we? I mean, we brought Rodrigo in and whoever else, but we have, in terms of personalities, we haven't probably like for like replaced them. Now, football position wise, we have clearly, but we haven't. What I'm saying is, it's almost time for the next, like you said, the old guard, the next generation to take that step up, and I don't think they're they've maybe taken that by the horns yet. You know what I mean? Like you say, with influential players out with injury, we've had KP out recently. We've got Ayling, Bamford out as well. So yeah, I think absolutely spot on.
I think.
I mean, it's all right. I mean, go on, Jay.
I mean, one thing I was going to ask actually before I forget, because my brain's fried. You said, Luke, about KP, you didn't think he was fully fit. Do you think this is the first time we've seen Bielsa maybe play a player who's not 100% because the result's so important?
No, I think he played Raf once when he wasn't fully fit, relatively recently. Was it before he went on Brazil duty or something? I think.
Won it?
Huh?
Won it Southampton? I don't know if it was. It took him off early, didn't it?
But there was he didn't come on at Southampton. It just got off the plane, didn't he? I think.
Oh, of course, yeah. Whoever it was before, then I'm not sure.
I think you're right. I think he'd had a bit of a niggly injury and he played it. But no, I don't think it's not Bielsa's style. I don't think unless he feels he needs it. And I think although he didn't sort of have the best game by his standards. Just having him out there is sometimes enough for players around him to have that additional confidence to take that extra step forward, Llorente or Cooper, and try and win an header, knowing Calvin's going to slip back in there and cover their positions. So I think he's lacking a bit of fitness, but he'll be back, and he's a massive figure in that team, and we're just a completely different team without him in there.
Oh, yeah. But we are getting better. And before we turn to a bit of a negative Nigel sort of pod, because we are all getting a little bit that way. But it was a great win, a very hard ground out win and stuff. What do we think of Norwich? Are they down?
Yeah, they're good as down.
Oh God,
their fans.
The amount of opportunities they had that they squandered were just ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's nothing there.
The opportunities to go up.
Their fans before the game were singing songs about going down and we're coming straight back up. We're going down and shit like that.
That's tin pot.
How must it feel to be a Norwich fan paying for a season ticket for that?
How can you be happy with that?
Yeah, but that's what they used to do, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
They're the ultimate yo-yo club, aren't they? They don't know any different. So to them, it's just normal.
They've got zero.
Apparently, that is their business plan: to get promoted, go back, get promoted, go back.
It's good for money.
Yeah.
Get all that cash.
Yeah.
Michael Brown just commented, I have no doubt that Leeds will survive this season, but Leeds need those experienced players fit and injury-free back playing to the levels they've shown last season. Couldn't agree more, mate.
Is that the Michael Brown?
We all dream of a team of Michael Brown.
Yeah.
Look, he's pretty much echoed what we've just said. However, I don't think they're crucial for us to stay up. I think we're good enough to stay up, even if we get the odd injury here and there. I think if we want to push on and get to the levels of last season where we're turning some of the bigger sides over and playing really well again, then absolutely agree with that.
Like you said, we are surviving and we're doing all right, but it would be nice to get a few of the more experienced, better players back. Like I said, the young lads that are coming through, it's scary. I went to under-23s game on Friday. What the day it is on Friday.
It's going to be a super fan.
Fantastic. There really are some talented stuff, some really good players coming through the ranks. But yeah, we need that experience. We need the old guard there.
We just almost need that stability, that reliability that comes with being able to play the same 11 every week, and we haven't had that.
Experience as well, isn't it?
No, we haven't, have we? We haven't. Stats say like last week that the 4 signings have still only played 12 minutes together or something.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think since we signed him, obviously Cock's still out. He's still got, I think, a pelvic injury.
Got a broken cock.
Yeah. So we've got a lot to look forward to. I think we've got players coming back, and providing we can stay injury free and keep pushing on, I'm happy. You know what I mean? I mean, it's nice being in the ground after a win today when we were down at Norwich and seeing the positivity. It's been a bit shit. We've had a bit of a wank start to a season, but somebody's just informed me that we're only actually like for like 4 points behind this stage last season.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're not a million miles away. Another thing
It's
I was
just the
going to say,
performances,
actually,
isn't it?
but like we were saying, like we've traditionally struggled, haven't we, against like the bottom sides? So like the fact that we kind of laboured to beat them today isn't uncommon for us. It's like when we were doing well, we were still playing like that against teams like that. So that in itself is probably par for the course with us and not something to be massively alarmed about. But
100%. 100%. We were gung-ho, weren't we, last season? And it was like, it was pretty much like we were either going to win a game 70-0 or going to lose 10-0, do you know what I mean? And even from that first game back in the Premier League where we lost 4-3 to Liverpool, you almost knew that we had an exciting season ahead of us. We haven't really felt that yet this season. I felt it a little bit at Wolves until we went to go behind, but we haven't seen that electricity, that that real energy.
Explosive energy, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But like you say, I mean, we feared no one. We were new to, relatively new, back in the Premier League and stuff like that. People didn't know what to do. We were a new package, and that's how we played. This year, obviously, with the amount of players we've got missing and stuff, we are being a bit more cautious, and that you can obviously tell the lads are clearly being a hell of a lot more careful, a bit more cautious. Do we need to be that? We're not as risk taking as we would normally be. And you can see that with the passings. Some of the passings pretty just not quite there, is it? But hey, it's a marked improvement. It's every single week.
Go on, sorry.
I know. I'm just saying it's getting literally better every single week. You can see they're getting better every week.
Yeah. Do you remember the turning point last season when we had that real good run towards the end of the season when he changed it slightly because we were almost too predictable that we were going to go for every game, and he changed it. He tweaked a couple of things, and I think he probably worked on the defensive aspects a lot more towards the end of the season. And that gave us that fantastic run because they were shocked were your Liverpools and your Cities, and I think we went unbeaten, didn't we, against the Super Six or whatever over the last sort of 7 or 8 games, and then
shitty six.
Yeah, that's it, and we almost tweaked it to play those bigger sides so we didn't get tonked, but we don't seem to have reverted back to that free-flowing attacking style against the clubs we should be beating. It's almost like our identity is now a happy medium between the two, which I don't know. We just need that bit of explosivity back, and I'm sure we'll find it when people start settling in that.
I suppose we're a bit more vulnerable this season, though, already, because like last year, agree, we were a bit leaky at the back, but we were absolutely alpha leather going forward, and we could stick away 3-4 goals in a match. As long as we outscore as opponents, I suppose it don't matter. Whereas this year it's completely different because we are actually struggling. If it weren't for Rafinha, we would have absolutely bloody knackered, wouldn't we? Yeah. Although Rodrigos' goal today were an absolute peach.
It was great. I enjoyed that.
Did the keeper make a mistake?
Yeah, it kind of got under him.
Yeah.
It dipped and sort of bounced just as it reached him, didn't it? And sort of went under his arms. It were bizarre.
It's one of them. It kind of dipped at last minute, and he kind of. It might have got a little flick on it, but by that time it had gone.
Right, I look forward to watching match today actually because although I saw the goals, obviously you get a different sort of vision, don't you, when you're in the stadium? So
you're knackered if someone stood in front of you, aren't
you? What are you laughing at?
You'll need a few yellow pages now.
5'10", me.
All right, you're the vanilla gorilla.
Right, lads, I'm going to go. I need to dry my knackers.
Right.
All right, mate. Enjoy.
See you later, lads.
Cheers, bud. Thanks for joining us. Cheers, mate.
I don't know how to fucking leave.
I'll get rid of him. Oh, no, that will Luke. Thanks for coming on, mate. That was good. He's a vulture with his step ladder.
Yeah, he's playing with his rubber.
So, final thoughts, mate. We don't need to drag it out because, like I say, it's Sunday night. Everyone will be wanting to go to bloody. We're going to say watch Heartbeat, but I don't think Heartbeat's on anymore, is it? I don't watch TV anymore.
No,
I've got some gossip to do. Final thoughts again, mate.
Final thoughts. I mean, I was pleased to see Rodrigo get another goal. He's actually in good scoring form now, technically, even though it was fortunate. I think it was good to see him get a goal. Raf was great again. and he really I saw somebody on Twitter write something like, "It's great to see the shift that Raf's putting in, knowing that he won't be here next year," or something like that. And he's probably right, and yet he gives his all for us, and he's fantastic, and he's arguably our most important player now, more so than Phillips, I think, which is something I didn't think I'd be saying last season about anybody. I think we're growing, we're progressing. Cup game were anomaly, it were bullshit. It's not, don't count. We did well against Watford. We did well against Wolves and should have won that. We won today. We weren't great, but we got the job done. And recent form is starting to pick up, dare I say it. And I think if we carry on as we are, I think if we carry on as we are, we might just be all right, touch wood. Yeah,
I think we will be. It was a must-win today, and I think, we might have made a bit of a meal of it, but, it were written in stars, wasn't it, I think, today. It wasn't. And I think it's good for the fan base. It's good for, obviously, the lads going, into Leicester at home next weekend and stuff. But, for fan base as well, especially people that have been, giving maybe some players a bit of stick, which we certainly don't agree with. Yeah. It'll quieten down a few nerves. It'll calm a few people, and obviously it'll get everyone behind the team even more probably. Next week, which is only a bonus. And then I think we've got an international break, haven't we?
Yay! Oh God, have we? Oh Jesus!
Yeah, Christ. I think so. After Leicester, we've got an international break, so can't wait to laugh that one up.
What do you reckon against Leicester? What do you think we could do?
I don't know. Confidence and form. If we can get. I don't know where Bamford is. I think if we can get Ayling back, maybe. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to be rushed back in. I mean, I know what you were saying about, potentially Phillips carrying a knock or an injury or whatever. But he ain't going to start Ayling, who's been out for a while. If you're out for a couple of weeks or whatever, you might be brought back in, whatever. If you've been out for a good amount of time, Forshaw's prime example, and your Aylings, they are going to be bringing him unless they're absolutely 100%.
It'll be same for Bamford.
And Bamford as well. So hopefully we might see Ayling. Who knows about Bamford? But we can only build on the confidence that we've got now. We're starting to get some good performances. We're starting to get some nitty gritty work down. And I think there's no reason why we can't beat Leicester. Leicester are only 4 points ahead of us, I think. 14. Yeah, we're 10 points. They're 14 points. I think they're something like that. I had a look at the table this afternoon, but they're beatable.
Yeah, they are, yeah. They're a bit like Arsenal in that you don't know which side is going to turn up, They could be diabolical, it could be awesome. I'd be happy with a point from Leicester, if I'm honest. I think that would be a decent result, but I would hope we could get the win, as always. But I don't think we should be losing to them. I mean, I know that technically they are better than us on paper, but I don't believe that they're actually that special in comparison. And I think that we should be at least looking to get a point out of that. A defeat, I'd be disappointed.
Well, like you said, I mean, everyone's beatable in this league. Even Norwich will beat someone. They're going to go completely without a win all season. And they're pretty terrible, aren't they, Norwich?
Hopefully they'll beat Newcastle.
Hopefully, or maybe even Scum or something like that. That'd be great if they just turn up for one game.
That'd be awesome.
But. Only positive. Oh, sorry, I've got a comment from Demi Lee. The only positive I took from the game was the 3 points.
I mean, that's a big strong.
Optimistic Leeds fans.
Yeah, well, that's it. I'm positive, Jay. I'm flying the flag because everyone else has given up. So I'm,
everyone else is miserable. No, we've got to get behind, lads. 3 points, 3 well-earned points. Try and use this as a bit of momentum then going forward. But I think we've said enough tonight. It we're only going to be a short one because there isn't a right lot really to comment on that before.
No, that's it. I think we've said what we need to say.
Yeah. So thanks for joining me tonight, mate.
No worries, pal. It's been fun.
Thanks to everyone else, especially for your comments. Please subscribe to the channel. The lads, I think myself and you might be on Tuesday for the main podcast. But
no idea.
I don't know who's on, to be honest. But
I always check on the day. Forget. So someone will be on anyway.
All right. That's all from us two. We'll see you for the next one. Cheers.
Adieu.